humbled to be here on episode 29 of JPJ Health and Wellness. As always, to be completely transparent with you guys, let's get right to it. Today I just did some 8 maintenance set of 3 sets of sit-ups, 50 reps each. As I mentioned yesterday, I intended and thought about doing cardio today, but I did give that disclaimer that if intuitively I feel like it's not the right move, I'm gonna not digress, but deter it to do a maintenance set of an exercise, and that's what I did today. I did a core exercise and maintenance set. So not too much. I understand that within the next 2 days, and for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, the next 2 days, I need to dive into my cardio and get that spark rekindled. I just know I need to do that. However it comes, I'm not opposed to at all. So, you know, I'm just getting back into the swing of things when it comes to my physical health, which I've been, based on the vast, not really vast, simple in my own mind, but from the outside looking in, vast amount of energy and effort I have towards the things I'm pushing, right, and moving forward with in my life, in terms of the mediums I express myself, to the business I handle, to my own personal life that I output daily. I believe my physical health and my perspective on my physical health is changing. It's not, and I don't believe it's ever been until I reached a point mentally where I was drained and exhausted from not sustaining mental discipline and chasing, putting my time and effort into the wrong relationships, the wrong things I use to express myself with. Many of those things, I'm coming from a place now where my view on my physical health is not perfect. And it's not coming from a place of seeking perfection or seeking outside validation from something that I can't sustain in the long run, can have some longevity with. I believe that since I started this show and prior to that, over this past year, I've gotten to a place where I accept that the physical health comes secondary to my mental health. And I believe that's where I'm always going to stay moving forward for the rest of my life, right? And I believe that, at the end of the day, despite me believing at one moment in time that I've reached a physical peak and plateau, even as I would say mentally, but I feel like even my mentality at that point was sort of skewed by the way I was handling my business and going about my life, from subconscious trauma and things that I didn't take as seriously that I should have, at one moment in time, that became conscious, affected my physical state and the way I viewed myself. And I truly believe that everything, uh, as far as you try to hide it, as far as you try to run from it, will always come to the light, right? And you either settle and continue to hide and continue to perform and put up a facade like nothing's going on or nothing is happening, or you let nature and time and life take its course, and you face it. And facing it, I believe, is something that, in terms of the mental health aspect of this show, is something that I advocate for, because when you face things in life that you've been withholding your time and energy from because you're scared or you fear it, or it's gonna mess up this part of your life, or you're gonna have to sacrifice this part of your life if God forbid, right? God forbid, um, those things come to light. Um, the healthiest and most beneficial thing you can do for yourself, is face it and let those emotions, let those feelings, let the situations in your life play out. Because at the end of the day, one, you reap what you sow, and two, right? Two, you face those situations in life and realize at the end of them, they weren't as scary, or you shouldn't have feared them as much as you thought. And only on the other side you find out that you become a better person, and you have become a better person because you faced what you feared. Um, and most people don't want to deal with the judgment, um, of being seen at such a vulnerable state. And I'm one to empathize with that. I can understand that, because I was once that person who didn't want to face what they feared and realized to drop it one time, and as many times as I need to, uh, facing my fears on the other side were my gifts that I didn't want to accept, or I've gotten so far from them because I was afraid and insecure or fearful of the judgment, um, from myself, which transcends to other relationships, to the relationships, from the relationships closest to me, my family, my closest friends, associates, and the back end that shouldn't matter at all. The most, when you are facing your fears, is the world, right? You shouldn't fear the judgment of the world, but 99.9% of people, that is the fear that uh, cripples them and doesn't allow them to break through that plateau and have a breakthrough, right? To come out of the other side grown, and into a place of promise and growing, instead of a place of doubting yourself and judgment, right? um, that's where something I empathize for all people, right? And that's just the punchline to mental wellness, right? um, First thing that came to my mind is you know the judgment of the world, you know is not even it's in my conscious, yes. I'm conscious of it, yes. But it's the furthest thing you believe when you start facing your fears is what's really holding you back. What you think is holding you back, and it's the judgment of yourself first and foremost. But when you face your fears and you face yourself, you realize that ripple effect has extended to your relationships, closest to the furthest, right? Your family to the world. And that's how life goes. You get in life what you see in it, and you are in life who you see yourself to be, right? And how you see yourself to be in relationship to you and the closest people around you. And when you start facing that truth, one thing that has helped me in my relationships around me, as soon as I faced myself and understood these are my gifts, these are what I've been hiding from, these are the things that I should have been embracing, and things that I now found out at this point in my life have given me stability and peace, right? And ultimately brought me happiness. You find out that, you're not addicted to chaos. You're not addicted to validation from the outside. You're not addicted to being seen or heard. Because why? Because you're able to see yourself and hear yourself. And back to the point of what has helped me after realizing, hearing myself and seeing myself, I see myself, I hear myself. Now, what do I do with the relationships around me, my family, or my closest friends, my associates, and, the world, right? The one thing I do and have been practicing, and is always going to be a forever practice for me, is my transparency to set boundaries and to set the direction and the standards of the two-way street of a relationship. What are my relationships with my family now, individually, on an individual basis? Who has been, taking advantage of my kindness? Who has been, capitalizing off of me? Who has been helping me grow and genuinely supporting me to keep the former at a farther distance and to embrace the latter moving forward at a closer distance, right? As far as their boundaries allow them to, right? And, next are your friends. Same process. Then your associates, the people you possibly conduct business with, have ideas, share ideas with, right? And do life with, right? To an extent. In your professional life. That's my perspective on it. After friends is your professional life, right? And what is the relationship there? And it's the same process. Then the world. When you get to the world, the numbers and the majority tell you out of ego and insecurity that you should conform, or this is a scary place to be, and I don't want to do this against the grain and move against the grain. But when you get the ripple effect of your family, your friends, your associates, and you reach the world, you realize that there's nothing to fear, right? And that from one man's perspective, what I'm saying to you right now, right? Going against the grain and following your narrow path that is true to you, that you love dearly, will not only help you and will sustain you as a human being mentally in your mental health. You'll find out that you as a person is more important to maintain your peace, love, and stability than to love the world or love the idea of the world loving you. And before I end this episode, the punchline is, when you start to love yourself and people start to see that and they start to understand that and feel that, right? That's when all the negativity gets loud and all the negativity, the hate gets louder. I understand. But you get more quiet in your own mind, in your own spirit. And you realize that by loving yourself, you attract the love from the people that you should be focusing on. But suddenly, the people who throw hate, throw negativity around, like it's a frisbee, like it's something that's not fragile, right? You understand that even them, they have admiration for you. And it may not look like that in the beginning, the humble beginnings of the process of things you love. But when you start moving down the ladder, and the further you go along in life, you'll realize you're changing hearts, and you're building, I would say, even building a relationship with those people who once didn't admire you, who once threw hate at you, spewed gossip, negative words, cynicism for what you stand for. Always stand for what you believe in. Always stay true to who you are. Always love yourself and give love to those who give love to you. And I promise that life will be the one to keep and sustain your livelihood. It's episode 29 of JPJ Health and Wellness.